All right, you all, we are back for part 2. And this is where we are exploring the energy surrounding the deaths of Nichole Coats, which was discussed at length in part 1. We are now doing part 2, and part 2 is looking at the energy surrounding Maleesa Mooney's death. And if you want a little bit more backstory, check out part 1 at the beginning, because that's where I give a little bit more information before we head into the reading. So let's just go ahead and get into Maleesa's reading here. We're going to use this edition of the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracles, where we just are looking for whatever you wish to release to us about the circumstances surrounding Maleesa's death. We know that the police have ruled it a homicide. We do not know cause of death. We have ladder. We have boy. We have chalice. Okay. Chalice came up in this position. Different deck for Nichole. We didn't have the boy. It's a little different. It's a little different. Just a little, but this is the same, and that's interesting to me. We have comet. Okay. Saturn. Wow. Fetus. There's a baby card that came up in Nichole's reading. And frog. Okay. It's feeling, I don't know if it's feeling personal or what yet, as we go through the cards. Okay. My tripod had fallen. I had to get that situated. So now let's talk about these cards here. We have the antidote as the very first card that jumps over the comet card, a 66 over a 77. And I am definitely picking up with this antidote card, a welcome remedy to a toxic problem. This card represents a cure or a balancing force against negativity. Someone, like, she was trying to get a leg up at a situation. This card can also mean escalators, or maybe some evidence of somebody ascending and going upstairs. Maybe there could be some sort of surveillance capturing a male ascending stairs versus an elevator, for example. So that's just some things that come to mind. But in terms of, it's an antidote, a welcome remedy to a toxic problem. It could be like a cure, right? What could be like a cure? Something toxic going on in her life related to trying for her to move up or get a leg up. Let's talk about the ladder card now. The ladder card is about high achievements, overcoming obstacles, stepping up in life. That's what it metaphorically means. So it could be that maybe she was moving on from something or a situation, and that becoming a problem. There could be some evidence around a boy, a male in her life. Interpersonal relationship. Interestingly enough, LAPD hasn't come out and said, they fear that a random or spree or serial type of killer is out there. They don't seem to be concerned about that. Now, the one little coincidence here that I cannot ignore across the two readings, from Nichole's to here to Maleesa's, is the chalice card. About this being something, a matter of the heart. Someone that maybe she was on a date with. Could these be two individuals, two different people, two different situations? Perhaps it could. I mean, but I do find that interesting. I want to hear from you all. What do you think about the chalice being in the same position from different decks for the different ladies? What do you think about that? So the ladder card literally can be about an escalator or steps or stairs. And maybe this person knowing the building and taking the stairs versus taking the elevator, as an example. Okay. There is definitely someone else in Maleesa's situation, in the untimely, death. Whereas there are some clues that there's some things going on in Nichole's life. In the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, the Hag card for Nichole can just simply mean a bizarre, malicious encounter that is at her own hands, or it could be at the hands of someone else, another female, for example. Whereas here, this is directing us to say, hey, there is some strong male energy here with the boy and the Saturn card, kitty corner from one another. The boy card is about someone who has untamed enthusiasm, could be a bit immature to her in comparison to Maleesa. Okay. So the chalice, as I mentioned in Nichole's reading, for me it represents relationships, love. According to the guidebook, though, for this deck, it represents abundance, celebration, dreams or aspirations yet to be achieved. Perhaps this boy had dreams or aspirations, maybe was out celebrating with her about something, some sort of ascension, or maybe she's coming back from partying and celebrating something, and the boy is there. Some sort of interaction happened and ensued, okay, with the male. What ensued is found here in the comment card, okay. The comment card represents disaster, turmoil, catastrophe, destruction, war, an all-out war, a bad omen. So there could be like a lot of evidence to suggest that an all-out war was happening here. As it relates to some male feeling disrespected, I'm getting with the Saturn card. The Saturn represents adversity, hardships, male sexuality or dominance, authority, and control. As maybe she's moving up, this person is feeling like they're losing control of a situation. It could represent wanting absolute dominance over this beautiful woman that they've been watching grow, and they feel this sense of entitlement to her because they're part of her growth, or watched her grow, or seen her grow with this fetus card. The fetus card can represent an actual fetus. It can represent a baby, discovering of pregnancy. But it also metaphorically can mean new beginnings, developing possibilities, or new responsibilities. And so this person who has authority over her, whether at work or in her personal life, a male, felt like they were, that she somehow was his responsibility to take care of, for example. But it feels very much not like the healthiest of the situation, because we had a toxic situation going on over here that needed an antidote. Okay, and then we have the frog card. What is the frog card telling us? This is about transformation, an ugly transformation at that. Another one of those cards that symbolizes that there was a disastrous night that happened when she encountered this person here. This person was set for war because they felt disrespected. constant hardships this male has gone through. And the Frog card is about a disguise, like maybe someone showing up and seemingly like they are good, they're cool, they're about that life, they're about a life of ascension and growth, but really it's not. It's like not what it seems with this person, like a misrepresentation, disappointments. Maybe she was disappointed. Maybe this person is experiencing disappointment as she's like trying to, move away from a situation. Something unpleasant that this male maybe needed to accept. Maybe it was her that needed to accept something unpleasant about this situation. Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. And in that regard, that these two cards kind of mirror in a way of what was happening in Nichole's part 1 reading that we did with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. There were cards that represent like masquerading or like deception or something like that going on. But yeah, and I mean, certainly the fetus card could represent that maybe this person wanted her to be pregnant or thought she might be pregnant, or maybe she thought she was, or maybe somebody else around them is pregnant, pregnancy being of a theme. But it also, like I said before, can represent new possibilities, new beginnings, new responsibilities, developing things that are progressing, going through a gestational period, etc. All right, I'm going to pause here. I'll be right back. So we know we are dealing with a homicide. So let's just ask Spirit, what is the shadow energies, emotions, thoughts, feelings, behaviors that are surrounding what happened to Maleesa Mooney? We have dark. Wow, so somebody was very dark, emotionally, mentally. Maybe, I wonder if she knew. Condescending behavior. There could be information. Witnesses have seen this. We have grief. Someone is grieving. Clearly her family is grieving for sure, openly. But it could also represent maybe the person who did this to her is grieving what they've done. It doesn't necessarily make them cold and calculating. It makes them like they are hot-headed. When, someone is disagreeable with them, they now have grief. Clearly there's grief because she's passed with her loved ones, but this is speaking about grief of the person who did this to her. We have rejection. Someone feeling quite rejected. Like she's out of their league now. Maybe she wasn't before. She's moved on. She's moved up quickly, and this person could not handle the rejection. There is regret. I wonder with the condescending card, if she was condescending to someone and they didn't like it, or if someone was starting to be condescending towards her. There's a sense of regret. It could be her own regret of not taking the situation seriously, as we see with the Frog card. Something unpleasant you may need to accept. We have trauma. Whoever is grieving caused the trauma. And emotional blackmail. It's almost like Spirit's like signaling, like, no, this is someone that maybe they have evidence about who this might be. Emotional blackmail, there could be evidence of that dynamic going on with witnesses in the past, or it could be telephone records, text records, emails. There could be just some evidence going on about some level of emotional blackmail that happened. This situation had become darker than I don't even know if Maleesa understood just how dark and dangerous it was for her. Huh. Wow. Whew. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're going to work with the Dark Mirror Oracle. Pull 1 or 2 cards surrounding Maleesa Mooney's death. We have anger and chains. It's a different energy here. Then we have, I suppose you could say, if it was the same person who's responsible for both ladies passing, it could be that this person's escalating, because this is a different energy than what we've got with Nichole's reading with this Dark Mirror Oracle. We have anger and chains, a lot of rage, a lot of anger in the moment. We see that here with the Comet and the Saturn card, an explosion of force and anger, and something causing a catastrophic, destructive situation, all because they could not keep their head in check. Their darkness overconsumed, and it resulted in someone trying to chain or prevent her from going somewhere. And so there could be evidence of that as well. Then we have peaceful among thorns. Maybe she was trying to keep the peace with this person, or trying to keep the peace and keep her, to move away from this situation. But in the end, it just was more dangerous than she could have realized. Anger and chains, the stage is anger. It says force channeled outside, unreasonable, undirected, but powerful. Okay. I've got to break free. I want to be free. Anger is not the road to clarity. It's not a controlled effort on a cold dish. It is raw, primal, explosive. It is the loss of reason, the loss of restraint. A bomb burning bright in black color. A wax seal carefully crafted to be immediately broken. But anger is also freedom. How can you break a single thread woven with a million others? How can you unfetter yourself from a bad situation, letting all the rest unchanged? It doesn't work like that. When you need to break free, you need to shake and shout. And more things will be broken than just what you want to hurt. They are like a bundle. You can target, but you cannot choose. Break many to break one. Save one to save many. Wow. Yeah. And this rejection was huge to this person. Peaceful among thorns, acceptance of the situation. To try to keep the peace, to not be disagreeable. I'm just looking to see if there's anything here I want to share. So it's about her maybe trying to maintain a level of peace among a thorny situation. You know how it is. You try not to rock the boat. You're trying to just live your life. You're trying to not cause anything to be inflamed. And that's the sense I'm picking up on here. Now, this could just be speaking on, one area of her life and not the area of her life that caused her ultimate demise. But this was like the energy that she was facing. But there was immense rage coming towards her from a sense of being rejected by her. Okay? And, caused trauma, significant trauma to her. So for the police, there was no question about her cause of death because of the level of trauma that she sustained. Whereas with Nichole, there was more needed in order to put together the pieces of what happened in terms of the crime scene. All right, I'm going to pause here, take a picture, move these off over here so then we can pull some additional oracle cards. Be right back. Okay, so I didn't use this deck in Nichole's reading in part 1, and the reason simply being is because the police have only declared that it's a suspicious death investigation for her. I may choose in part 3 to use this before I dig into the tarot reading, but we'll see. For now, we do know that police have declared Maleesa's cause of death as a homicide, so we want to look at what clues or what spirit can say about that. Okay. I try to now use this one, you know, when I have a confirmed homicide on our hands. We probably have to come back at some point in the future and do more readings on this case. I'm thinking. One more spirit. Okay. Let's talk about these cards. We have here premeditated murder. Killer planned out the details in advance. So you can still, you know, be rejected. It could be a heat of passion kind of thing, but you still could have planned and fantasized and thought about what it would be like to exert so much force and anger towards another human being. So certain aspects of what happened could have been planned in advance. We have surveillance cameras may provide important clues. I talked about that earlier in this reading, where it could be that surveillance has captured this person, maybe going in the stairwell versus the elevators, or capturing at one, you know, the surveillance capturing at one end of the hall that people don't expect to look at, or maybe down like a corner of the street, seeing this person exit the building from the backside or from a side entrance or from the front entrance. But nevertheless, surveillance cameras actually providing important clues. Now, I know I had heard, and I can't remember of the two cases, surveillance cameras either not being mentioned on whether or not they capture anything, or being broken, or something about the surveillance cameras. But I do think that despite all that, the police still were able to get some important information from surveillance. We have the killer will murder again. Okay. That's scary to think about. So this particular person who's done this to Maleesa has it in them to do it again, or has a history of doing this. Okay. Money may be involved. Money may be involved. The killer may have an item belonging to the victim. And that could be for a variety of reasons. They could have taken it as like a memento, you know, like a souvenir of what they've done. Or it could be because this person works or is in close proximity, or even maybe dated her at one point and just has an item, right? Just because they know each other. So we have the perp sustained a wound during the attack. So that's going to be something. When I did a off the camera reading on this case, I got a scar card that came up. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, there it is. This came up, and it could be that this person has a noticeable wound or scar as it relates to what happened to Maleesa. Okay. Then we have cell phone records may provide important clues. So there could be records, text messages, phone calls from someone, you know, or it could be their cell phone records, GPS tracking, to place them near or at her apartment during the time that the crime took place. But it could be phone records as well as like conversations or messages being exchanged. They will be of importance later down the line with prosecuting the perpetrator. The suspect lives near the scene of the crime, or this could be just this is a person that's in close proximity to her. All right. I'm going to pause here. I'll be right back. So now we're going to just keep going, exploring the energies surrounding. We have house, ocean, something happening in her home, I suppose. Can't escape. It's terrifying. Anything else from this deck? If not, we'll stop shuffling. Okay, so we have house, someone who's been in her home before. Maybe they, know the lay of this land. Maybe they live in the complex even, or near the complex. This situation runs deep. I mean, of course, ocean could be that they're dumping important evidence in water or destroying evidence in water. But when I see a card like this, it also tells me that this is an emotionally deep situation. The situation runs very deep. It runs very deep. And can't escape. What can't she escape? She can't escape out of this attack, for sure. But it also could be that she can't seem to escape this emotionally volatile situation that runs deep. We also got some element of money involved. I wonder what that's about. Maybe money in terms of working with someone, money in terms of contracts, money, the kind of work she's doing. I don't know. And it could be speaking to her real estate business. I know that Maleesa is also a realtor. And this could be about a situation that pertains to her work dealings or someone she's done a deal before. I don't know. That's interesting. And that would be a difference that the police could be picking up on from the two situations between Nichole and Maleesa. Like there could be some evidence here as it relates to that, this card here. Okay. All right. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's see what is bank records. Okay. Bank records. Karmic connection. Cover-up. Now that's interesting. We had a cover-up card in Nichole's reading. Okay. Deviant, pervert, rule or country. That's interesting. That's kind of a coincidence as well. There was like some kind of wilderness card that jumped in Nichole's reading. But we have someone, a deviant or pervert, someone who may have also did some other kind of attack on her. God forbid, I hope that's not the case. But that could be also something that's different than what was showing up at Nichole's crime scene. Computer. Okay. So information on the computer. Okay. Computer records. Drugs or overdose. We may hear of someone related to a situation that has a drug problem. We have footprints. Sometimes this is digital footprints, but it can also mean actual fingerprints or footprints that will be captured at the scene. Gunfire, the threat of a gun, the threat of a shooting. the majority of homicides in Los Angeles County, and I looked this up, and if you want the specific statistics, I can get them for you because I actually made notes, but I'll just say the vast majority of the deaths, the homicides that happen per year is due to gun violence, and I thought that was interesting. Okay. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that's her cause of death. It could mean that this person that she's dealing with maybe has a gun collection, into guns, threatened with guns, threatened her life with a gun, but did something else. It could mean something of that nature. It could be a cause of death. Maybe that could be why it's very clear to police of what happened to her versus having to go through all of the proper channels to really dig into what happened to Nichole. So it's almost like two different crimes, which could mean two different perps. You see what I'm saying? Two different situations between the two. Okay, so I'm going to pull one more from this deck. Okay. All right, so we have local. Someone very local to the apartment building that she lived in, that Maleesa lived in, or local to her workplace or work, her actual work. Local, close, right? That's what that is speaking to. We have distraction or diversion. We might be hearing about that, like a distraction about making it seem like it could be, or maybe the police having the public kind of go wild with this idea that it could be one person that's responsible. They did have a responsibility, LAPD, to come out and say that they don't think it's related, but they haven't quite squashed like any other kind of rumors that have started to perk up or poke out as it relates to these two deaths. So that's intentional, because they want the perp that did this to her to feel complacent and to feel safe and to reveal themselves, or further evidence for prosecution down the line. Does that make sense? They want to trap this person. They want them to feel complacent. It's what I'm picking up on here with this card. I mean, distraction and diversion could mean other things, but that's what I'm picking up with it. And social media, checking social media records for her, for others, people who followed her, then unfollowed, vice versa. Also, playing this out in social media, again, part of that strategy that law enforcement is doing in order to keep the perp complacent. All right, I'll be back. Like the spread, isn't it? Quite large. So now I'm just going to pull a few more cards as it relates to Maleesa's untimely death. Devil in disguise, trickster, manipulator, hiding in the shadows. A similar kind of energy was going on with Nichole's reading. We have June. June is of significance to this case. It could represent a birthday month. It could represent the birthday month of the perp or of the victim. It could represent something significant happening in the case in the future in the month of June. Or it could mean that something of significance happened this past June as it relates to this case. The next card we got was gunshot shooting. Again, this could be that kind of weapon was used. I don't know the cause of death as it relates to Maleesa. It is interesting to me that the police were able to come right out and say, there could be other, things that they see. They could see ligature marks around her neck. They could see, all sorts of blunt force trauma. There could be things other than a gunshot that could be obvious causes of death. But a gunshot wound would be an obvious cause of death. I just think that sometimes when this card comes up, but we've got two cards now speaking about gunfire, sometimes when these come up, it's like someone who's a hothead who threatens or has a gun collection, maybe has a record of having guns, or, just has a record of dealing with guns. Maybe a criminal record or a record of just like purchasing purchasing them, and they're in the system that way. Let's see if there's anything else. Devil in disguise, manipulator, trickster. Her seeing what this is. Helper. This person may have had help. Okay. Wittingly or unwitting help from a helper, from a parent or friend or another, like a lover or someone. Wittingly, knowingly helps to cover up or to hide, or helped in the commission during the crime, or unwittingly or unknowingly is helping this person, So that does happen. We have guilty knowledge did the act. And southwest. Southwest is of importance, directionally speaking. So we'll stop there. I'm going to pull some timing cards, and then we'll wrap up this portion of the reading. I will come back at some point very soon to do the tarot reading, where I'm just going to point blank ask some questions. I'm going to just say this. Right now, I can see why police are thinking that these two are not related. There are some similarities for sure. Even in these two readings, I see them. But the similarities also pale in comparison to the differences. I'm curious to see, though, what you all think about, for you, does the coincidences really outweigh the differences in the case? What do you think? Okay, so timing elements, spirit, that surround Maleesa's death. We have waning crescent moon. I would have to look that up. Friday. I don't know what day of the week she passed, but Friday is of importance as it relates to her case. We have Sunday, 9 to 10 years. Sometimes these will tell us when, the prosecution will happen. I don't know. We'll just see. I'm going to have to. Oh, wow. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here for now. I think we've got enough. So, some key time frames. Waning crescent moon. I'd have to look that up to see when that is. Something happening between Friday and Sunday, or Sunday through Friday. These days are of importance as it relates to her death, as it relates to something immediately preceding her death. Somebody who maybe she had met up with on these days. These days are of importance. These days of the week. Within a week, it could be something that transpired within a week, quickly in the situation. Maybe she just knew this person or started intimately dating this person to try to keep the peace, even though maybe there's some sort of money situation involved. I don't know, but within a week it just kind of went bad. Okay. And then we've got decades and 9 to 10 years. So I hope this does not mean this is how long it's going to take for things to unfold or for justice to happen, but it could mean that this person's going to face decades in prison. It could 9 to 10 years could be that they have a record that they served some kind of time. This kind, I don't know. 9 to 10 years could represent how long she's known this person, or it could represent, how long it takes for this case to make its way through the legal channels. I don't know. It can sometimes take a long time, even when you have a suspect and building a case, and then from there you have to go through all the trial wrangling and constant delays after delays after delays. So it could be something like that. I do get a sense, though, that we will get answers as to what happened to her in due time, right? And that's what the next part of the readings is going to be about. Part 3 is going to just be a short and sweet reading for tying up both ladies' readings, I should say. And we'll just be point blank asking, will we really get the answers? Will we find out what truly happened here? So that's it, my friends. I'm going to clear off the table so I can take pictures and go to bed. It's really, really late. Do me a favor on your way out of the video. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. And that way you can stay easily notified on when I drop another video. Okay, also check your notifications. It's what I'm told to share, because sometimes those are a little wonky, apparently. All right, my friends, take care. I'll see you all in part 3 at some point very soon, to tie up the loose ends of questions, pointed questions we have, and then we'll wrap it up for now. Take care. Bye for now.